universities and those who are liable for all this forgery and things of this kind should just stop. Because, in fact, one of these people should serve as an example. I'm actually proud of that MCA who at least got something of his own. You see, that one somebody had. You know, in a society, in the political arena, for example, I'm not turning to politics. Sometimes politicians just need papers, because the other thing, any other thing, they have. Because you can't be an MC if you don't have money.
Yeah, how are you going to campaign?
How are you going to convince people? How are you going to go and print posters? How are you going to remove something for people to eat, which is very illegal, but again, happening, you see? So, you can't do any political position if you don't have money. So if you have money, the only thing now you lack is papers. If that person has taken a proper initiative of doing the real paper and getting something at the end of the period, that is far much better, because even some people who spent years, 4 years in high school, some managed an E, which you can just go and write your name. So long as you've written your name in the paper and your index number, you have E. It doesn't require you anything. You don't need anything. All those 7 points, that is an E. Very easy one.
Okay.
Somebody at least managed a D minor. Then from there, if he is very intellectually ready, can actually turn
Explore.
that D minus to a PhD. It is possible.
Yeah, it is very possible. Very possible.
Yeah. So, I mean, with him, he is far much better than these people who are now forging. By the way, in Kisumu, there are a lot of employees who were employed even during the first governor's term. Rasan, I don't know, was he Rasan?
Yeah.
Yeah, who had fake papers. I think if the current governor could use a lot of sanitizer around, he can sanitize quite a number of people.
And this is not only in Kisumu,
It is
but
almost
across
everywhere.
the nation, even those who, some of the people we've seen in the media. But away from that, let us move to page 4, where we have Muturi's explosive dossier on son's abduction ordeal. Public Service Cabinet Secretary says NIS officers abducted his son and he was released after the president intervened. A story by Zadok Angira. I find this story, if you would ask me, I don't support abduction, but I find this story not making sense. This person is not being realistic. Muturi is not being realistic. Why?
Maybe there's something he has seen that we haven't seen. So he should just come out and tell us what he has seen. Because if something happened last year, mid around
June, July,
then you spent September, August, past November, up to December, just quiet. Then you explode in January. Then we have to question your basis of explosion. You have to have some reason as to why you exploded.
Yeah, because again, if you read the story, the son is saying the Cabinet Secretary Justice Muturi's son, Leslie, was abducted by officers from National Intelligence Service and was released after the president made a call. He's saying from the story that he tried to reach out to Kindiki, Kome, and so many others, and this Japhet Kome, and it did not work out. And he had to go to the president. He had sent the president a message on WhatsApp, from what we read, and the president did not attend to. He only saw the plane flying to the State House. Now that is when he also drove to the State House, and the president laughed at, how could this happen? And from all the indications, I don't find this story matching.
Me too.
Yeah. So if you want to read more of what it stands as the dossier from Muturi, please grab a copy of People Daily newspaper and
Before
read more.
I think there are a lot that don't meet the high here.
Yes.
So I don't know how we are going to, with us citizens of this great nation, I don't know how we are going to cope with all this, because there are a lot of, I don't know, should I refer to them hooliganism, hovering around this country that are actually out to destroy it in totality. Because if somebody working in the same government now complaining of something that we used to complain about, then the ironic part of all this is that it is something that happened months ago. I don't know whether this abduction news was even in the news during those times, but I didn't hear it. During July, June, when these Gen Z protests were now in the peak, I didn't hear any news reporter saying that Muturi's son was abducted. Only to come and hear it in January 2025, when these abduction cases have been going on, which have been recent. And this other one, which is now taking a great turn, happened months ago and was even released, and they kept quiet. There is a lot that don't meet the high that we don't.
Now, the story is there by Zadok Angira, and also on the same page we see Muturi dares critics to go ahead and impeach him. And there you read that story, you'll find how he answered Osoro and the rest. Now,
there's something, there's just something. There's no nothing here.
Yeah, you can check the stories by Zadok Angira and Dennis Lubanga. It is on page 4 of the People Daily newspaper. As we move to page 5, Ruto picks face parliamentary vetting. Now, yesterday we did see the ex-governor and the former CS appears before House panel to answer questions. A story by Rollins Otieno. We did see yesterday Mutai Kagwe in front of the vetting panel, and we also did see William Kabogo also there, and we expect to see Lee Kinyanjui also. What is your take on the president appointee to broad-based government that is coming in? And we did see the three.
I think he's trying to cover some cracks which are there, but I feel this one bouncing back to him, because the further he mends the crack, the wider the cracks expands, because now Muturi now is exploding here from the same place where he's trying to mend some cracks. So I don't know whether he's going to manage. Only time will tell. But again, for now, we just have to see. The only problem that I have is that when the president was campaigning, he promised Mama Mbogas, watu wa boda, who are also learned, by the way. You know, competence, if you have education, that is one factor to determine competence, and competence itself. So with that one said, I think kuna watu hata hapa chini who are not known. By the way, I liked the former CS for ICT.
Owalo.
Not Owalo. The recent, this woman who actually said no to being, I don't know, ambassador to Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah, that woman was actually competent in terms of education-wise and experience, and the fact that he was a low woman. Nobody knew her until they asked. There's this man from Nakuru here, Kimani Kuria. He was actually picked by Kimani Kuria. So from his constituency. Like for instance, maybe Junet comes around here and looks around, even around Upper Suna East, then picks somebody whom maybe is only known within the town, with the fact that maybe he went to school. You see, that is just somebody known to in this
Locally.
in the locality, on the basis that he went to school and has worked in some different places. But now here is a case whereby everybody else who is now being appointed to any position must have worked and worked. Like for instance, Kabogo says is worth 3-point-something billion shillings. That's somebody who should just be left around to be
like cumulatively, both Kabogo and Muturi, their wealth is cumulatively is around 4 billion.
4 billion cash. That's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. And mark you, in that particular time, there's just somebody around who is as more competent than them, because even before Uhuru identified Matiang'i, nobody knew him. In fact, my father told me that during those times when Matiang'i was a lecturer at Nairobi University, was learning there, then the vice chancellor there was the former CS of education who mwenye alikufa hapa kutoka CIA hapa anaitwaje? Professor Magoha.
Yes, Magoha. You talk about Magoha, Professor Magoha.
Fired Matiang'i this for some time when he was the lecturer at Nairobi University. I don't know reasons best known to what happened. So when Uhuru identified Matiang'i, nobody knew Matiang'i to the level that he performed. He actually transformed education, because previously we were used to seeing exams even on TV and any other place. But again, when he took over, nobody saw exams being leaked anywhere. So we have competent people, though rich. When we leave Matiang'i's situation, though rich, but again we have competent people who can do those jobs perfectly.
But again,
still revolve around the same people who have been working there.
But again,
making the same problem.
I think, in as much as we talk about competency, there are so many people are competent. There are so many people are able to work well. They are able to deliver. But having looked at a background, there are some people, they come from a background, they don't have anything. And you know the society of today, you don't have anything, and you get to a position where you can grab and acquire and more. I believe to that extent, that's why some of the cabinet in the past were showing opulence outside there, because he comes from a place or not known. You reach there, there is a plenty to grab. Like I want to take a scenario whereby you have employed somebody to serve you, to work with you, because it is working with. And this person has all it takes. If in terms of money, he has money. In terms of education, he has education. Do you think this person, and he also is morally upright, was brought up well, do you think this person will steal from you? What if in a case whereby you bring somebody who the quest and the anger, yes, the quest for more? I think that's what brings corruption.
Not even that. You see, Gadi, we are just in a society that is messed up.
I like that.
A society that is messed up.
I like that statement.
In terms of wanting more. You see, even if you have a lot, like for instance, you have a lot like Kabo, and you see, you will not, nobody will be employed and say, I think your salary, I just want to work. He doesn't work like that, of which he can do. The fact is, with what he has, if he just want to serve, like Jesus did, expecting nothing, he will not starve. There's some period, the corona period, when Uhuru decided that he's going to offer a salary around, I don't know, it was 800,000 of his salary so that the economy could recover. And he said that one is going to affect his cabinet secretaries, the PSS, and even the deputy president.
The salary cut.
Salary cut. You see, if at all they did, we are not sure whether they did it, because we never saw their slips. But if at all they did, I don't think it affected their daily operations, because already they had more. There is no family, in terms of family, that is rich as compared to Uhuru. But still, he was complaining the other time that whatever the government is supposed to offer him, that is around 600 million that is supposed to be paid almost per month, in terms of upkeep and stuff like that. He was still complaining that he is not receiving that, you see.
I'll take you back to the Bible. Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
No problem.
And God what belongs to God.
Caesar should also understand the society that we are in.
If you've worked for something and you are entitled for it, then it is your due. It needs to be given to you.
Of discussion. Entitlement, there are some buts and some why that can be discussed about. But again, the only concept that we want to lay out is that, you see, these are families that are not doing well also need to move from whichever point they are. You know, they say, Ruto keeps on saying most of the time that education is the ultimate equalizer. It is the only thing that itasawasisha wewe na mtoto wa Uchilo, you see. If mtoto wa Uchilo studied maybe mass media, na mkutane kwa field, then you people can see the same language. But if you dropped out around class 3 or even 4 or even 5, wewe utakuwa unasimama hapo nyuma while he speaks. So ultimate equalizers brings it to that level whereby where that rich kid is, you too, if you work hard,
you can be
there.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier about Matiang'i. And we see in the next story here, Matiang'i visits Vote Richmond, Kenya region in a move seen as political foray. The stories by Matthew Ndung. In the past, we've had people saying that most people Matiang'i is out, and on Monday, on Monday, we did see in the paper where the Gusii land, they were divided whether they support Maraga for the presidency or they support Matiang'i. But we also see Matiang'i coming out, having been called by the Gen Zs. You remember during the Gen Zs, they said Matiang'i, they want Matiang'i, they want Matiang'i. Now Matiang'i is out and he visited Mount Kenya. And many people see his visit to Mount Kenya, going to the funeral, as a way that is coming out to kind of look for votes, to kind of try to win people to him. And we also see the race is coming swift. We have the incumbent, the President William Ruto. We also have Kalonzo Musyoka. We have Okiya Mutata. We have Rigathi cannot do anything. He cannot even vie. For right now, he cannot vie for presidency. He has to sit down. He cannot. Constitutionally, it's not allowed.
Constitutionally,
yes. He can only front somebody.
If you still have a case in court, because he still have a case in court.
But he has been impeached.
He hasn't been impeached, yes.
Yes.
He still have a case in court. That one has kept the Meru governor in the seat up to today. And I think she's even praying that the court case prolong.
You see.
So when you still have a case in court,
that case is different. That case is different. It is different from this one that we have with the ex-deputy president. That is Rigathi Gachagua. He's out. His seat has been occupied. His seat has been occupied.
Anyway,
he cannot go and sit on top of Kindiki claiming I belong here.
That one we'll discuss next time. But again,
I'll
have a reason to justify what I've been saying.
Okay, no problem. But
So,
getting into Matiang'i, we see Matiang'i out now.
I think society can mislead you sometimes. Because Matiang'i was just relaxing in England, I think. Where he went after being frustrated kidogo when this government came into place. After frustrate you up kidogo, he disappeared from the limelight. Then when people started chanting his name left, right and center, they thought maybe these people miss me. That one also disturbed me when he returned to Kenya, you can remember.
And he wanted to be the Nairobi governor.
You know, when he landed, he expected people to be crowding the airport and walking into Kisumu and stuff like that. But that one did not happen. Wale wenye walikuwa wanapiga kelele kwa media, kwa social media hapo kwa X, were not there to be found when he actually returned. So sometimes don't listen too much to speculations and media. Easy with the internet, easy. But again, I'm not here to
rubbish off his ambitions of being the president.
But again, I think these people have called quite a number of people. And in the context that you also talked about earlier, in terms of when you get an opportunity, you also wish to acquire more. That will happen with Matiang'i. It's only that we as Kenyans, we tend to forget things which happened previously. The only person who frustrated even Luos, for instance, during that time was none other than Matiang'i.
I don't want you to go.
I'm not going there.
I don't want you to go the mountain way. No.
I was heading to this point whereby even Matiang'i himself is not as perfect as we think he is. Because we saw him being associated with the Warakala, which has not ended, I think. The case is still on court. So this act of when you have an opportunity, when you get an opportunity, you will always want to acquire more, or even get something that is going to stabilize your own existence, equal. And I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, because other than if perfection was someone in Kenya, we can only associate perfection to Maraga. And we've not heard him speak of anything that is happening in Kenya. In fact, he's very since his tenure ended
in
the judiciary ended, he has been very quiet. Nobody has seen him talk. Maybe if you follow him to church, maybe you can find. I don't know. But again, nobody has seen him talk. Nobody has seen him comment. He is just there.
Okay. Let us jump to page 10. Quote of the day from People Daily editorial. We have quote of the day from People Daily editorial, and also we have cartoon of the day. Welcome to Kenya. Foreigners Airways. I don't know what that cartoon speaks of. Maybe you can dissect it and help us understand. As I take on Ainakoi MP Samuel Chepkonge. He says, his quote is, "These are the same suspects who vandalized Transformers Tower in my village, plunging into darkness all households, including that of my mother." That's when he talks about the vandalization, people who vandalized, the news on vandalization of electricity. Now that's there, and we also have other more. What do you think?
I can actually comment on this.
Yeah. I was calling on you to comment on it.
You see, welcome to Kenya, then hapo kuna abduction. Kenya has been, in recent times, it has been associated with bad things. If you can remember, some days ago, an activist from Tanzania was abducted in Nairobi.
Yes.
So if you want to, and the other time we also had the opposition
Besigye
being abducted
and
in Nairobi,
found himself in Uganda.
back home. So you see, with that one said, and with the kind of activities that have been going on currently, I think if anytime you come to Kenya, even if you will not identify the place that you landed with, be very wary of where you can end it, because you don't know who is following you from where you came from. Because I am very sure that even those who abducted that activist, the Tanzanian activist,
That's Sarah. That's Sarungi.
Yeah, I think the government of Tanzania was aware. Because I don't think anybody who comes from Tanzania who is in Kenya here can just be abducted aimlessly, unless they are known.
We did the story in our news bulletin where she was saying that they had to flee from Tanzania.
Yeah.
Because they've been criticizing so much of...
Some years.
Yes.
And the only thing that we don't know as Kenyans is that in Kenya we have a lot of freedom, and freedom to do anything, which is not found in our neighboring countries. It is only Kenya here where you can just cartoonize, make the president's portrait or picture aimlessly in social media, and you wanna pretend away kidogo, then when we make some noise you come back. That one does not happen in other countries because there is no democracy to the level that we have it in this our country. Democracy that is in Kenya is not found in Uganda, will never be found in Tanzania, because if you try that, the following day we will not be found. So with the back to cartoon, anytime you land in Kenya, make sure you make peace with where you come from, because you don't know, you neither land too easy, then some black man in a black car will scare you.
Okay. On the matters of abduction, allow me to give the producer to actually put it on the screen to see what Sarungi was saying yesterday. We still have that clip. Yeah.
I got was, what do I do exactly? But every time I wouldn't answer, I would tell them that when you abducted me, what information did you have about me? And they really didn't like the word abduct. So they kept telling me, we did not abduct you. And I said, what you're doing is abduction. I didn't get to see their faces. There's one of them, I know that when they were taking me, I looked into his face, but he was wearing a mask and a cap. I saw only his eyes. The others I didn't see. But I think my sense tells me that they were younger, based on the voice and the way they're young, the ones behind, and the ones in front, unfortunately, I've not been able to interact with. I would really like to take this opportunity to thank people. And as I said, primarily, I would like to thank you, international media, but I also like to thank individuals in Tanzania and in Kenya who have spoken up. I've not been able to see everything. I just was briefed. I'm aware that people like God bless Lema and Tundu Lissu and Mnyika, some of the politicians in Tanzania, have spoken up. I'm also aware that there have been a number of individuals who have done a lot of activism in terms of calling people. But I also want to thank a lot the government and the embassies of the EU delegation and the US. And of course, I would like to thank all the human rights associations in Kenya, including Amnesty International, Amnesty Kenya, Law Society of Kenya.
That is actually what we had yesterday when it in our news bulletins about the abductions. Now, let us jump, as we wind up this, we jump to sports, where we see North London Derby is here. North London derby is here. Arsenal seeks to maintain unbeaten Premier League.
I think before we even go to Arsenal, there's something which is going to affect Kenya. Like the CHAN competition that was supposed to be held here in Kenya by around May.
We are getting there.
Yeah, so
I'm preserving that one to round it up, because we have to give what's happening in our nation a lot of prominence. Now we see Arsenal seeks to maintain unbeaten Premier League home record as they host neighbors Tottenham. Now, you are a sports journalist. You love sports. You do sports analysis. What is your take? Do you see Arsenal beating Tottenham to maintain their unbeaten record?
What would I prefer? Because personally, I have a preference. If possible, those people can just draw, because there are a lot of repercussions that the result there is going to affect me either ways. So if they can just draw, I'll just be very happy. But generally,
so which team do you support?
So to speak, generally,
which team do you support?
Man U, of course. If
okay.
I'm to speak, Tottenham have not been consistent so far this season, and Arsenal also undergoing some injury crisis that have actually.
We see Saka is out, and we also did see Gabriel Jesus out of injury. We don't know when he's going to come back.
Jesus is going to be out for quite some time. So Tottenham have not been doing well, just like I've said, in recent times. But the only thing that I've managed so well is playing well against big teams. This season they have managed to score 4 against City. I think 4 or 5 against City. They managed, I think, a draw against another. They managed to beat Man U 3-0. I don't know, 3-0 or 2-0. They also played well against Liverpool. And even recently here, they also challenged them with 1-0. So against big teams, generally, they have been really solid. And we expect that tonight. If they have to have a result, they'll have to put in one of their best.
But on contrary, I think this is not a game that Tottenham is going to win. The reason behind this, you see, Arsenal has been playing well. They have injury, but looking into of all the games that Arsenal has lost, they have never lost in English Premier League. They have lost against Manchester United. They have lost against Newcastle. They drew against Brighton. So they have to come back. They have to prove to the fans that it is not just that we lost. We are here. And you've also said Tottenham has not been consistent. He wins this game, he loses this game. He wins this game, he loses this game.
There are always pressure that comes with losing, and it is always there. We can't rule it out because it is there.
It is there.
So if they have to bounce back, that mentality has to change.
No,
so
that's with Arsenal or with the Tottenham.
We are not, you ask about Arsenal. So
yes, that's what I'm saying.
I want to give you some preview on what to expect, because generally Arsenal have been very good in the last years, but what they lack is that mental strength to keep up or to put up with pressure, because in this kind of competition there are always pressure. Anytime you lose a single match, you get closer to the next person following you.
But again,
so with that one said, let me just finish the news. Then with that one said, there have been a lot of turbulence in their system because of injuries and maybe results which have not been going their way. So with the result not going your way, and if your players are not mentally strong, anytime you will be shaken by even a goal or even trailing at a particular time, always interferes with how you face the rest of the game. So with that one said, let's just hope things go their way, because assume that maybe Tottenham score fast and even threaten to score again. If you are not mentally, if you are not a team that is strong in terms of being able to cope up with pressure, then you will fall to the victims.
Now, I want you to consider this. Having looked at Arsenal against Tottenham, the games they have played, Arsenal has been winning against Tottenham.
Yeah, that one is true.
Again, Arsenal has never lost consistently 3 games.
That one remains to be seen, because even City never intended to lose the way they lost, but they lost. So that one we can't talk about.
Okay. You said you support Manchester United. We see Liverpool and Manchester United dealt with Kavicha, blow as PSG signs Napoli star. Well, Liverpool and Manchester United wanted to sign Kavicha, but unfortunately they were knocked out.
Outsmarted.
Yeah, outsmarted by PSG. Now, we also see on page 39. On page 39, we see global transgender debate in sports. Now, this is one thing that many people don't understand. Global transgender. Women's football history of inclusion gives it a unique place in the trans right and gender debates. Now, when you talk about transgender, we have these athletes. Let me call them athletes, because whether you play football, whether you do the running, that's totally we call them athletes. Now you realize that there's been people don't understand, where do we place him? Like we had Semenya. Will you classify her as a woman? Will you classify her as a man? Now this is a talk that has been going on, and we see that you can read much of that story in page 39 of the People Daily newspaper. Who will go down in La Liga? Who will go down in La Liga? It is fascinating relegation battle between Valencia, Real Valladolid, Deportivo Alves and Espanyol clubs. Who is going to go down? All these 3 teams from La Liga are in the relegation. Either of them can go.
Valencia has always been a very good team. One of the biggest teams so far in Spain. But the problem that we are having in this sort of leagues, other than England, there is no consistency in terms of big teams performing constantly at the highest level. That's where you will find that, for instance, even Valencia, for example, the other season, we had a problem with Sevilla. Sevilla also almost got relegated because they had a very bad, and that's a team that has always played Champions League almost year in, year out.
And the Europa League, that is
all the times. So, like for instance, now you find that a team in England which have been competing in these top 6 teams, all of a sudden now struggling for relegation. It is only common in these other leagues. That's why you will go to Spain or Germany, for instance, and find a team that, for example, before Bayern Leverkusen or even any other team, then one year they have even finished position 3. The following year they are being relegated. It is not common so much in England. It's only common in these other leagues. And in Spain, other than these 2 teams, that is Barcelona, Real Madrid and Athletic Madrid, the rest of them have proved not to be consistent. They don't back their performance. When they do well this season, next season, somebody else, like last season we had Girona being in position 3 in the league, almost competing for the league. And this season, wanayumba pachie. So there's not that conceit. But again, I still believe that Valencia can survive.
Okay.
Yeah, the rest of them maybe
Can go down.
For all they can.
Okay. From Yaoundé, Cameroon, Rigobert Song appointed to head Cameroon national team. The veteran Rigobert Song.
I don't know. Let's just wait. You know, good players generally don't do well in coaching.
They don't make good coaching.
Yeah. But when people like Rooney are really struggling. In fact, recently here he was also shown the door. So good players generally don't make good coaches. Average players manage good coaches. But we can't rule out what he can do. If he has his philosophy right, maybe we'll see Cameroon do well in the World Cup, because they have always been doing well in this African Cup of Nations. Yeah, they have been doing well. They have really been doing well generally. The only part where we want to see Africa do well is the World Cup. So let's just wait for them in 2026 and see what they can do, even in the qualification.
With the Song as the head coach.
As the head coach.
Okay.
That one can only be translated to that match level when they start doing well now, because you can't wait for that when you are already drowning. You can't wait for that 2026 when you're already drowning in 2025. You'll see only other 26 ukiona. So make sure you don't drown in 2025 so that you see 2026. Maybe if you die there, we'll say that you try.
Okay. Now, blow as Chan 2024 Fiesta pushed to August. And the tournament's draw set to go on today in Nairobi as unprepared Kenya gets more time to put up memorable tournament.
You know, economically, Kenya tend to be ranked as one of the best countries in Africa. But I tend to wonder, how can you rank somebody in a position that they are not, if some basic facilities they don't have? It is something troubling that a country like Cameroon can manage to host the whole African Cup of Nations, the whole of it. And now they come to East Africa and 3 huge countries. We have Uganda here, which is of almost the same geographical area as Cameroon. Tanzania is even twice, or even 3 times of Cameroon. And Ivory Coast, for instance, hosting the whole competition as a whole, one country. And now they want to tell us that now Kenya and Tanzania want to host one competition, 3 countries.
Now you see, I think the reason behind this can be attributed to the fact that it depends on where you put your investments. You see, a country like Cameroon, they have invested so much in sports, especially in football. Countries like Nigeria, they have invested so much in football.
So many things, not even one. Nigeria have invested in so many things. Be it film industry. Which country is doing more film than
But before the film industry was out in Nigeria, we know football was there. Football was one. You talk about Nigeria, what comes to your mind first is football.
No.
You talk about Nigeria, now,
if you meet a kid in town and ask him anything about Nigeria, you just tell me the characters who are active.
Okay, now,
that is what they see most of.
Now let me ask you a question on that note. When you talk about that, now looking into Kenya now, when you talk about football, who are the legendary footballers you can think of?
I don't know, Kina Olonga, then we have Mariga.
Okay.
And Wanyama.
Look at the people you're counting. But talk about Nigeria.
And Nigeria, they have quite a lot
You'll think of JJ Okocha, you'll think of Emmanuel Amonike, you'll think of Nwankwo Kanu, you'll think of so many legendary players.
Currently, this is the time that they are going to have a lot of legends, because right now, that one country itself has almost over 50 players.
Professional players.
Playing the competitive leagues.
Yes.
Leave about these small leagues, even in South Africa.
Yeah.
So, the
point I was putting home is that they have invested much on sports. There are a lot of sports academy in Kenya. Do you know of any sports academy?
Yeah, other than
do you know of any? But go to Nigeria, there are a lot of sports academy. So it depends on where your treasure is.
We have to challenge the country. Yeah, because you can't be big by name. You know, yesterday, the other time I was walking down, then I saw a car written on its back, walk the talk. Or talk the walk. I don't know, whichever, even if you reverse it, if you are associated with good things, let good things follow you. So if we are associated with the super highways and stuff like that, let good things still follow us. Let's emphasize, even you see even those Quebec and those are policemen. A majority of them are policemen and wanajeshi. They are not just a few of them. Few of them are independently doing running. Like athletics itself, utapata they are affiliated to an organization that is helping them practice and make sure that they be fit for the competition, you see, other than just having an organization that is entirely entrusted to nurturing talent from whichever level that they can and whichever competition that you have. Because the only thing that has developed these countries which have developed the level that they are is sports. That's whereby in the US, for instance, we have American football, we have this football, soccer,
we have soccer, we
have rugby, we have basketball, we have tennis, we have golf. The best golf player we have Tiger Woods. That's one of the richest people playing golf. Mere golf, just golf. See?
And you call it mere golf.
Yeah, so, and even other competition, even wrestling and stuff like that. That one, if we have a population of even 200 million, and even 10 million people, or even let me just say 5 million are doing these competitions thing, these sports things. Already, that country is going to develop, because where these 5 million are doing this, they are going to be spectators or fans. And from fans, this organization that are organizing this are making money, and the money is going to the government because they are taxed.
And again, there are some people who will be selling equipments that are used for that.
Yeah, that one develops. You know, if you come to Kenya, for example, other than Shaban or Kisi, the rest of these teams don't generate anything. Ukikuja hapa Migori stadium hapa, this sort of stadium that we call ours, you get that some few people will manage to feed that 50 bob, then the rest will try to climb the wall. Waruke huko ndani, you see. So with that one said, the team is not going to grow. And in Makiu, for the last 3 matches that Shabana played at Kisi Stadium, they have generated 3 million. That is enough to pay players, cater for how they are going to travel from whichever place that they are to even Muranga or even Mombasa for the games. In fact, when the league started, generally, when the league started, they were at position upper chin. But right now, they are mid-table, and I'm perceiving them being a very good team, because wakikuja home, that home support is going to develop them a lot, because if you can generate 1 million per month, and we have around 18 matches. That's how much?
That's around 18 million.
18 million. 18 million can play players, can sign players, and can cater for development of that particular team. Even you can say maybe 10 or even 5, you buy some land, you develop it for your training, you see. You have your own training ground, you see. And you facilitate it with the kind of funds that you develop. And we in Kenya, we also have competitions, like the FA Cup in England. We have DSTV Challenge and stuff like that, other than the league. With all these ones, there are going to be a lot of competitions, and with these competitions comes resources that you generate from your fans. But that is not applying to other teams. The other teams which are when you will feel sicker, like even Sony and even Gormai. Gormai is only that they established a long time ago. They have some few sponsors. But the other teams which don't have cannot do well, because sports is very expensive, by the way. It is not just a walk in the park whereby you just go to the ring and play, and that one you lose and be relegated, and the motive of starting that kind of sport will vanish.
Okay.
So if we can, I think the country generally should focus in facilitating sportsmen, because it's only sport that will help the country grow. If we develop, the other time, if you've been very keen, there was wrestling in Uganda. If you saw it.
I remember.
Watu wakipigana hapo kwa matope and wakivunja viti, you see, that is sports. If we have people who are willing to do that, but they can't do it because they have not found that
that type of sport, that kind of sport.
That environment that facilitates that. It's really you see. But with innovations like that, and good sponsors, and funds, the country can grow. We can have stadiums. If a country like UK, with a population almost close to ours, have almost 1,000 clubs, and all these 1,000 clubs have stadiums, better ones than ours here in Kenya, better ones. 1,000, that is football alone. Then there are other competitions, rugby, they have cricket, they have almost anything. So you can imagine the facilities that are always there. Be it rugby, be it everything. So you see, if we can motivate sportsmen and invest so much in sports, because not everybody will do well in education, but some of the few rich people that we have around, even in the world, majority of them are sportsmen. Be it acting, be it dancing, be it that is what will change their employment.
There are people who do arts, we call them arts.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to bring this to a close, and we have to say thank you so much for keeping to BTV. Thank you so much for keeping to your home live television. Now, Vibrant Morning comes to an end, so that we usher in another program that is yet to pick and kick off immediately. Now, as we wind up, I'm your host Kagi Isaiah, and today we had the opportunity to be with Nyahinda. Let me give him opportunity to sum it up, wrap it up for us. Karibu.
Okay, thank you so much to the viewers, and we really appreciated the time that you've taken to at least to watch our program and make sure that maybe we grow together. And that one says, we just want to urge our country to be very, very vigilant. You know, in the Bible they say, during end times, a false prophet will come with false alarm, like the one now heading news right now. I want to regard it as a false alarm that is just there to divert attention and take people back to where they want us to go. Let's just be vigilant and make sure we believe what we know. We don't believe anything that is happening around, because a lot will be happening. But you have to ask yourself whether is it what is supposed to be happening? Is it logical? Is it making sense, so that you have to make sense of everything that you believe in? And that one said, we also want to encourage our country to measure so much on sports. If we measure on sports and have facilities, because if a country like this one can play its matches in Malawi and SG, it is embarrassing for a country of this level, of this magnitude. So we want to encourage our country to do that, and encourage our viewers to keep on supporting us, and make sure that we follow BTV in all our social media platforms, and make sure you hit back to us tomorrow when we'll be having back the show, and any other time that we'll be having the show, any other show. Make sure you follow us, you like and comment, so that we get motivated to doing what we're doing.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Wednesday.